We have the final 4 spots going to Code S today. And among our players, we have Flash and Rain at the end of the night. We have Squirtle here as well, not to mention Lucira, and of course BBoongBBoong. Just a few of the names. That's not even all of them.
Yep. 2 LGIM players with Lucira and with Squirtle. Flash against Rain, probably the most anticipated match of the day. And then 2 ZVZs that we also have. I guess this is like the day where it all comes down to for Flash, because he tried twice, he failed twice in Code A, in the up and downs. Now it's his 3rd attempt, and if he wins today, then he is finally in Code S. But Rain, of course, he wants to go back to Code S. He doesn't want to spend another season in Code A. Would have another chance in the up and downs, but still, that's never something you want to gamble.
Nobody ever wants to go those up and downs, especially not a Castle player. They have been doing pretty abysmally as far as the up and downs go. So, you know, as far as history can tell us, it's not a good place for them. They need to get through today. This is going to be the best chance. You know, what's easier, winning 1 best of 3 or being in a group of potentially 5 other players and hoping to get out of that?
It's pretty tough, and as you already said, like the last time when we had the up and downs, not a single Casper player was able to get through. So this time, both of them just want to try to avoid them as much as possible. But this is also true for the other players that we have today. We're starting things off with 2 Zerg players. We have BBoongBBoong, and he is up against True.
Yeah.
BBoongBBoong, this is the only match that he has to play in Code A. He comes from Code S. If he wins here, then he is back in the Premier League. On the other hand, we have True, a Zerg player who didn't really impress us in the last games.
I was going to say, he doesn't impress, but he does succeed.
Exactly. He won all his games, so he was able to win 2 games already. And we will find out if he can win his 3rd. But let's have a quick look first at yesterday's results.
Yeah, here's a reminder. We did have SOS take out Flying. GOMTV was able to take Björn out with some crazy all-ins. And then we had DRG versus Lure in a pretty unique series. And last but not least, Life practically walked the floor with Alive. It was a tough series for him.
Yeah, Life played very, very well here. And this is today's lineup. True versus BBoongBBoong, our opening match. We have Sue versus Lucira, Shine versus Squirtle, and then of course the last game of the day, Flash versus Rain.
Yep. Squirtle recently joining LGIM, saw him in the makeup room. He already seems very close with the LGIM coach, so I'm having a lot of, you know, private little chats. Seems like they know each other pretty well. And that's one thing to say about the LGIM coach. He is always going to be there if one of his players is playing. Of course, today he has 2.
Yeah, and kind of what we see in LGIM now is Protoss taking over.
Yeah.
So many strong Protoss players in this lineup. It's getting really scary.
It's definitely scary. Well, BBoongBBoong might feel the favorite player in this series. True, like you said, he succeeded, but he did not impress.
The series that he played last against Crazy was already a ZVZ, and to be quite frank, this Zerg versus Zerg was not the best. It was okay, and of course True won it, but BBoongBBoong I feel is on a little bit of a different level than Crazy, so I would expect a lot. But it's not to say that True can't win this. I mean, this is a Zerg versus Zerg after all, and True has shown that he can win best of 3s. He just did it every time a little bit in a weird way.
Yeah, I agree. Saw BBoongBBoong actually on my way to the studio today, and I was coming here a little bit earlier, around like 4 o'clock, so he's been here for a while, so he's had plenty of time to warm up. And I gotta say, just considering how long he's been here today, how warmed up he must be, I give him the edge 100%, but True could surprise us today. He's going to have to do a lot better, though, I feel, than he has shown in his previous series.
True is going to try to make this happen, of course, and since he played Crazy, there has been some time, so he could have improved tremendously in his ZVZ. We're going to find out today. BBoongBBoong, on the other hand, here on Whirlwind, will try to get a quick 1-0 over his opponent. He did not come out in the Heart of the Swamp GSL preseason matches. He was focusing on Wings of Liberty, focusing on his 3rd round in Code A, and this is where we are today. This is the last time we have Code A for this season. 4 players will advance. One of those 2 that you see on the screen will be one of them, either True or BBoongBBoong. We're going to find out who it will be. Jumping into the first game here at the GSL Code A Round 3 with Colin Wolf. To the top left of the map in red, we have our Casper player. He is
Ace Team True.
He took out Hack, I believe, in his first round. Is that correct?
Yep. Against Hack, he won both matches. And then he won with the 2-0, and then against Crazy with the 2-1. To the bottom left, we have his opponent today, coming from Code S. This is
BBoongBBoong.
Doing a lot of team shifting, BoongBoong has been as of late. Leaving Prime, joining MJ, which had a few old Prime players, including Bit by Bit. Then, of course, as that team kind of fell apart, he, along with Nada, moved into Azubu, so that's where he's ended up now. Despite all of these team shifts, BoongBoong just seems to be a pretty consistent high-level player.
He definitely is. He has a lot of experience. Both of those players that we see now in this match have roughly a 50% win ratio in the ZVZ. BoongBoong a lot more games under his belt though. This is what gives him a bit of an edge here. But to be fair, the last games that he played against Zerg, he lost. Lost to Curious and the IPL 6 qualifier. And also in the Codes season that he played, he was not able to defeat Roro. Roro, of course, advanced now to the semifinals, so that's also something noteworthy here, but still.
Exactly. You know, what we saw out of True in his matches, not only against Zerg, but also against Hack, felt like his mechanics are pretty good, but some of his decision-making is not at the same level as some of these ESF players, simply because he has not been around as long in StarCraft 2. And this is common for Caspo players, especially, you know, with all of the transitioning that's going on right now with Heart of the Swarm. It's hard to have the same level of experience. It's hard to catch up with some of these other players. So this is going to happen with him slowly but steadily. This would be great for him career-wise if he could find himself in Codes after just recently switching and playing so few games to be able to make it all the way to Codes. That would be huge for him. So this is a great opportunity for him, I feel.
You know, he's in the 3rd round here, and it takes something to arrive in the 3rd round of Code and get this chance to go right to Codes. And whatever happens, he will at least be in the up and downs. But he has a shot at reaching Codes without going through this ordeal. So he will try to take BoongBoong down. It's not going to be easy. BoongBoong is an experienced opponent. But still, this is a Zerg versus Zerg, and if you get into your opponent's head, you could certainly succeed.
Yeah. So both players have slight variations in the gas. It looks like we have a slightly faster gas for True, but as you can see, both players getting their queens and the drones at the exact same timing, minus about 12 gas difference between these two players, so we're not going to have one advantage one way or the other.
We now have, in this first map, both players testing the waters a little bit. This is Whirlwind, this is not a map where you play mind games. You can do that, we have seen Live do it several times on a big map like this, but right now in the Zerg versus Zerg, nobody really wants to gamble here. Both of them are going into the expansion build and now trying to just set up for a normal game.
Yeah. Baneling Nest down for both players. Nothing left to chance here. A little bit of scouting going on for BoongBoong. He wants to see if he can find anything out. He does see the Baneling Nest, and True needs a pause.
Alright, so let's find out what's going to happen here. Currently looking at his... Let me have a quick look at his production. Actually, he's getting the... He's a little bit behind in the drone count, but he's getting them as we speak. His keyboard apparently works. He requested the pause and also paused the game, so this should not be a problem for him. And it might be a sound problem that we're having.
It's also possible, again, this is a highly discussed issue, the select enemy buildings. He may have tried to go in and select his opponent's Baneling Nest there at the beginning, make sure it's a Baneling Nest, not a Roach Warren, for example, but unable to, and he may have to change that setting now. This is something that when you warm up in the booth, you're usually just testing your own hotkeys. You're not playing against anybody, so you don't click on any enemy structure, so it's something you don't notice right away until you're actually in a game, and you're like, uh-oh, I can't see what that is.
It's kind of funny to see them talking in the booth. You might have realized that you could not understand the admin, and this is because in the booths we also have white noise machines, so that everything is cancelled out. And it really looks like we are actually having a hotkey problem here. And once again,
this seems to be a plaguing problem right now. I think if this continues, referees may have to have stricter rules about hotkeys. I don't know. This is actually a bit weird.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't understand this. If it happens
first
in
player
the
especially.
Exactly. If it happens in the 3rd game, then I can kind of understand because we have 4 booths here, and if you play in the 3rd match, that means you have less time to prepare. But these players are the first to arrive in the studio, and from the beginning they have the booths, can set everything up, and you would think that setting up the hotkeys is the first thing you do after you connected your keyboard and your mouse, and then you play a bit of a test game. So I'm not quite sure how that can happen, and it's been happening a lot in the last
especially, you know, for me, I find it particularly weird that this happens to a Caspo player coming from a StarCraft 1 scene where this type of pausing would just simply not be allowed, and there would be much harsher punishment for a situation like this.
You're completely right with this. He is usually playing in an environment where this is not even allowed, so this is a little bit odd to me too.
Well, we'll see how things transition here. Luckily, nothing too big has happened as a result of this. And 2 banelings ready for BoongBoong. He's going to face quite a bit of Ling aggression coming out from True, but I think he should be able to defend it as long as he reacts accordingly. He sees a few of the banelings. He does not actually see the ones on the ramp. Now he verifies. This is really smart.
He knows what's going on here. He needs to pay attention with the queens, though.
His drones, he just allows them to die here.
BoongBoong suddenly lost 6 of his harvesters without doing anything. He didn't pull them off the mineral line. I'm not quite sure what happened here, but this is definitely not going BoongBoong's way.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to force the cancel on those 4 additional banelings, so maybe he was focusing on that, but
he saw those 2 banelings.
Yeah.
He dodged them with the Zergling, so I'm not quite sure what happened here.
Yeah, and True is literally morphing banelings right outside of his base here, and he's continuing the attack. This is going to force BoongBoong to react.
Here comes the split. Now we're talking.
Is much better.
But still, additional 3 drones go down,
Yeah.
and he loses so many harvesters.
Yeah, and there are more and more Lings coming through. 1 baneling for 1 Ling there. This attack by True is looking stronger and stronger. He's not losing any momentum here. Needs to make sure he micros against the banelings, though. That BoongBoong is now morphing. So far, so good.
Important to notice that BoongBoong droned up a lot heavier than True, therefore we still have a very similar harvester count, but True is getting an additional round of drones, and he is now ahead in the worker count, but he is way behind in tech.
Yeah, and right now, the lair coming up for him is going to give him a massive tech advantage. He still has this map presence, and BoongBoong, who just made a bunch of Lings and a few banelings, now has to do a little bit of counter pressure because if he just sits back, then he knows he's going to be behind. And True has seen everything.
The problem for BoongBoong really is that the tech advantage doesn't really help him. You can see how he tries to close the gap in the worker count to get on an even economy, but this gives True the time to get his own lair tech up.
Yeah. This is something that BoongBoong does get into the main base and scout, but seeing this is only half the battle, really. I mean, seeing this doesn't really help you all too much when you're this far behind in lair tech.
And so far, he didn't do anything with the lair tech, actually. BoongBoong didn't do anything at all.
Exactly. He was so focused gas-wise on making those banelings, he did not actually use his lair tech. In fact, I didn't even realize he had already made a lair because he hadn't used it at all.
Yeah, he didn't. He had a much faster lair tech than True, but he never really used it. He was trying to get up in the drone count again, and now we even have True ahead in tech as he already goes into not only +1 attack upgrade, which BoongBoong does as well, but also adds the infestation pit, something that BoongBoong hasn't even started.
Yeah, it looks like BoongBoong is going to go into roach speed with his lair tech. He does have a faster +1. And that lair tech partially does explain why he didn't have enough banelings to hold that aggression early on from True. He didn't lose the game over it, but he's now in an awkward position. There's the roach speed coming out, though, for both players.
I have to admit that I expected a little bit more from BoongBoong. Losing 12 harvesters in the early stages of a game is something that usually does not happen this way, unless you're really surprised. But he even saw those early banelings, and he dodged them with the Zerglings. But then after this, I don't know what exactly happened. I mean, there must have been some kind of plan, but apparently he didn't. He missed the hotkey, I don't know, but he did not defend at all against the initial 2 banelings.
There were those 4 that were morphing outside of his base. I think he was trying to focus on just to be, make sure they don't hatch and then kill all of his Lings that he was trying to use, but...
Yeah, but that doesn't really make sense if you've seen the initial one walking up the ramp to your natural.
I mean, this is not a mistake a pro gamer would normally make. These Lings do see the 3rd base. He can't pressure it because there's too many roaches over there, but he knows his 3rd is behind now.
Whatever happened with BoongBoong, he was behind the game. He already lost a few units. He is now a bit behind in the overall tech. He closed the gap in a harvester supply and also in turtle supply. As you can see, he's now getting a little bit ahead as he gets the roaches out a bit faster. This game kind of equalized at this point. Again.
Exactly. There's going to be a slight advantage with the infestors coming out for True here. But if he can't use that, then it doesn't matter because BoongBoong will also catch up. This is kind of like the situation you have in other matchups, like PvP. One player has more Colossi faster, but then he has more resources to catch up and then use those, get those Colossi out and catch up and equalize. Because there's only so many resources on the map that you can have on 3 bases.
But BoongBoong is now a little bit faster than his opponents going into the +2 attack upgrade. It's only a very small timing window that he has here, but it could help him in a fight. We've seen this several times, that in a fight, this upgrade really matters. Even if they're only a few seconds apart, if this upgrade kicks in while you're fighting and your opponent is 1 upgrade behind you, then you can actually take it.
Yeah, that was a really nice baneling hit by True there. And True now finds himself 20 supply ahead. All the extra minerals he had from having that 3rd base up, but really the gas that he's mining at that 3rd base a little bit faster is starting to add up for him to get these roaches out.
Yeah, BoongBoong is trying to close the gap in overall supply now with the additional roaches that he's currently producing. But the player who's calling the shots is True. He is moving out now with this roach and infestor force.
Yeah, he's up 20 army supply right now.
Let's keep in mind that he also has more energy on those infestors.
Yeah, he needs to get a good angle. Looks like he's going to try to trap his opponent up the top of the ramp, but BoongBoong is wise to this. He comes down. A few Banelings here to help out, but they get trapped.
Here comes the fungal. He could use another fungal to take on those investors. Currently doesn't do it. A few Zerglings run into the base now at the third and taking down units as well as the queen.
Yeah, getting that queen is really important here. But BoongBoong so far is doing a decent job of holding. He had the better position with his units, even though True had more of them.
But he's losing too much now. He's not only losing harvesters, he's also about to lose his infestors if he doesn't pay attention. Another fungal just barely saves them. And now with the reinforcements being produced, he is kind of stabilizing again. But True is really the one pressuring.
Yeah. If True hits this next wave really nicely with some good fungals with that extra energy you were talking about from before, he will definitely get massively ahead. But he has to do damage carefully here. He could just walk away. And if he walks away, then we're going to even out, and that's what he does. He decides, you know what, this is too much.
And actually, BoongBoong is ahead in harvesters now by 7, and this really matters. He has the additional drones working on the minerals at the third base, which is not the case for True.
You can see even in the bank, if you look at the top right, he's got about 600 more minerals than his opponent, and that comes from that extra drone count, those extra minerals he's mining. Right now, only really gas is being mined at the third base for True.
He's going into Hydras, BoongBoong that is, and also adding the +1 armor upgrade immediately after the +2 attack upgrade finished. So if True actually misses to add his own armor upgrade, this could give BoongBoong another edge. But True is looking a lot better in this series so far than he did against Crazy.
Yeah. Now the question becomes, you know, if he gives BoongBoong enough time, BoongBoong will stabilize. But the ratio of Hydras to Roaches becomes really important. Both players really even on Roaches right now, 33 to 32, and the investor count is 8 to 6, slightly in True's favor. But we've seen in the past that having just a few too few Hydras or a few too many Hydras can actually skew the battle one way or the other.
And now, as we can see, True immediately reacts after the attack upgrade is done and researches armor. We have BoongBoong once again with a small window where he will have an edge in the armor upgrades.
Yeah.
But still, it's really interesting to see that True also does not lose a single second after his attack upgrade is done. Bam, immediately going for the next upgrade. And now it's just gonna end up in a battle of, a battle of numbers.
Control, numbers, ratios, concaves, things like this, where are the fungals hitting. And even the Hydra range in the burrow was slightly ahead for BoongBoong. So these things are probably not going to matter because we're not going to have a fight that is on the edge of these upgrades. But this is what matters a lot. True is taking a 4th base first.
Exactly. He's going in the 4th right now. He will try to play a little bit more defensive than BoongBoong, who is now already moving into the middle of the map. Both of these players supply blocked by the Overlords that have been taken out.
And all these Overlords being taken out by BoongBoong now means that there's no more vision for True. He used to have a lot of vision about where his opponent is, but now that those Overlords have been killed, he doesn't not quite know where his opponent's going to approach from, so he has to send some units across the map.
True pulling ahead a bit in the harvest account. He will need those as soon as he tries to saturate the 4th base. But BoongBoong on 200 supply, he could go for an attack. He has the armor upgrade. True doesn't have it just yet, but he will in a few seconds. And let's not forget that BoongBoong now is adding even Spine Crawler, so it looks more and more like he's going to take a 4th too.
Exactly, and there's no way for BoongBoong to know he has that armor upgrade advantage over his opponent without clicking on the units. He doesn't have any vision right now. So for him, you know, he has a window, he just doesn't quite realize it. Nidus network goes down for True, and I like this. This can be used in a number of ways.
Yeah, the Nidus network could really do quite a bit here. We have to the right side, bottom right, we have a few units. There they are, the Roaches, and they could always just try to get in and make sure that there is a Nidus, and then suddenly True has a lot more momentum and mobility.
Exactly. This is not a Nidus that we have to see by an Overlord in the back of the base or anything like that. It could just be to the side to give him a flank. He could allow the Roaches to come in and attack the 3rd base, and then get out, and then go back home to defend any sort of counterattack.
Here come the Roaches, and this timing for him is really good, but BoongBoong is attacking. If he can attack before the Nidus is up, that would help him quite a bit.
He's going to kill these rocks first. This gives True a little bit more time to get his Roaches and his fungals ready. And here goes the Nidus.
The Nidus is there. What is True going to do? Those Spine Crawlers are going to deal with the Roaches.
Yep, Roaches are going to come to the back here. This actually forces a reposition on one of the spines, which is going to help out a little bit with this Nidus. And what is BoongBoong going to do? Is he going to try to force the attack? He does, but excellent fungals immediately by True.
He traps him at the ramp, and now the high ground vision with those few Roaches on the high ground. But another fungal hits home, and now BoongBoong has to move back. Another fungal hits him here, and he's losing way too many hit points.
And you know, True hasn't even used an ice. Doesn't have to because it's far enough away that BoongBoong hasn't found it, and he's getting stressed out right now. He's looking around for it. He's no longer able to continue to push because he knows his opponent has the high ground vision. He knows there's an ice out there somewhere.
He might see the creep at some point, but does he really draw the right conclusion? That's the issue. And now of course he knows. Yeah, now he knows what's happening here.
These roaches could snipe the hatch.
He sees the Nidus. They're trying to move in here, trying to do damage, but the armor for BoongBoong is not that far away.
Yeah, very true. Looks like he's, with all these spine crawlers, not going to be able to do very much damage, but getting the queen is pretty big. This is going to limit the production just a little bit at this hatchery.
And this allows True now to move out. True is moving out and trying to attack the fourth base to the left side of the map, where we already have a few units of him in position.
Yeah.
And now the high ground once again belongs to the Casper player.
And True now has his high ground vision. He has the better position here. There's nothing that BoongBoong can do to save this hatchery. He will try to counterattack, and that's his only hope. Is True going to be able to catch him here? Oh, this is so close. If he can get up his opponent's ramp, he could get the better position, and that's exactly what he's going for.
BoongBoong has to attack right now. He has no choice here. He's down one base already. The infestors are coming into play. Here's the Hydra and Roach ratio. A lot of the Roaches of True are actually trapped behind the Hydralisk, and now those infestors, can they get close enough? We have so many infested Swarmex for both of them.
Yeah, the Hydra's at the back of BoongBoong doing a lot of extra damage here. I feel he had the better arc at first. Part of the supply difference here is, of course, in the Remax, but this is definitely going to be a fight that goes to BoongBoong right now.
The fight itself goes to BoongBoong, but can he use the momentum? There are all the Roaches that are now streaming in. The Hydra is still with the damage.
Unprotected. You know, he's remaking Hydras, or rather Roaches right now to protect his Hydras, but right now they are not safe, and the base advantage still goes to True right now, so he can remax his army a lot better. He has a much better bank overall right now. In fact, having about 5 times as many minerals as his opponent.
BoongBoong has to do damage now. He's on 3 bases. He is in a really awkward position. His armor upgrade is not done just yet. This would give him an advantage here, but he's moving up the ramp, and of course True knows what's coming here. He's getting additional spine crawlers. He has a good army. He has an infestor lead, and he's using it for another fungals on those Hydralisks that are already low on hit points.
Yeah, and spine crawlers are coming up here. This is going to help out as well. BoongBoong is kind of locked in a corner right now. He needs to keep the pressure on. He needs to trade. He needs to trade efficiently so his opponent's bank will be depleted while he's trying to make up for that deficit while remaking that hatchery. Another Nidus down to the bottom right.
He sees it with the Overlord, but does he really notice it on the minimap? It doesn't really look like it. There is nothing heading towards the Nidus, and as soon as those units are in the main base of BoongBoong, he's gonna lose everything here.
Yep, there it is. And now BoongBoong has to make a choice, turn around or go for the fight. Looks like he's going to go for the fight. I feel this is the best option for him, but still, this is not going to be easy with the concave at the top of the ramp with spine crawlers. He's got no chance.
At this position, he has no chance whatsoever. There are just too many units in the high ground. The infestors with a fungal, and even units in his main base at the bottom left now. This looks like BoongBoong is going to be behind in this series.
GG.
True looking a lot better than in the second round of Code A. In the Zerg versus Zerg, is able to pull ahead in the series and take the game on Whirlwind.
Yeah, very surprisingly good play from him. And I liked his Nidus play. He used Nidus networks to keep BoongBoong a little bit distracted, use them very positionally. That Roach trade that he did at the bottom, yeah, he lost maybe 12 Roaches, but only killed a Queen, but that was enough to allow him to get the high ground on his opponent's high ground. He took his opponent's 4th base high ground and then took out the base, got away.
The Nidus was only there to draw BoongBoong to the right side of the map, and this is exactly what happened. At the bottom right, there was BoongBoong, and the left base was completely exposed, and True took advantage of that. Moved in, took it out, and from this point on, he knew exactly, well, you have 3 bases against my 4, I'm taking into hive already. You can't do anything here, you have to attack, you have to do something, and I can just wait on the high ground with my spine crawlers, with my infestors, and wait for you to attack, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, going into map number 2, it's Icarus, which is kind of a weird map for ZVZ because you have those extra resources at your expansion. This means you can do bigger Baneling attacks or bigger Roach attacks or even both. We've also seen mutas on this map.
This is going to be a really cool game. BoongBoong down 1 map. I didn't really expect this, but True playing well today in Zerg vs Zerg. He could take it with a 2-0 here and go straight to Code S. That's something that we're going to find out right now. Icarus, as mentioned, is going to be the map. Our second set here at the GSL Code A. Colin Wolf.